I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. Today, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about having a process. How do you think about setting yourself apart from the rest of your competition by having a repeatable process that can help your clients understand what they need to do, how they need to do it, so the process will help lead them through instead of you setting out just product and solutions. It's going to give a process that helps them understand the whole thing from start to finish. As you go through, we live in a world today where we've got an e-commerce mentality, and that's something that we have to realize our clients understand. It's the way the world works today. But we're in an environment that it doesn't really fit the e-commerce mentality. You think about e-commerce mentality, it's instant gratification. You can get on Amazon, you click a few buttons, and something shows up to your house within hours or at most days. It's easy, it's fast, but remember, we don't offer cookie cutter solutions. So we need to have a process that takes our clients out of this e commerce mentality and leads them through a better, repeatable process. If you think about the client's planning journey, most clients are unaware of the problem. And so part of what we have to do in this process is help our clients become problem aware. Once they understand what the problem is and understand the scope of the problem, we can start making them aware of the solution. So once they have the problem, identify the problem, the scope of the problem, now we can help them understand there are solutions. And as we take them through this planning process, it's going to lead them to making good decisions. And finally, the ultimate part of this is implementation, because nothing gets solved unless it's implemented. So we want to take them through this repeatable process. If you think about this process, it's discovery first, goals before tools. And this starts with, having gathering the client data, clarifying our client's goals. Once we understand who our client is, now we can start to identify those tools. Once we have the tools, we formulate the plan, we present the plan to the client, and most of all, implement that plan. Once that's done, the process will take us to review and repeat. So let's look at that a little bit more in detail. The quality of the planning process starts with the quality of the information that you gather. So when we're doing this data gathering, we're going to use both formal discovery and informal conversations to understand our client, their family, their business. We want to understand who they are and also what are their goals and objectives. Everybody's going to be different. Don't make assumptions. We want to dig in and find out who our client is and what they're trying to accomplish so that we can start moving them through the process. So take your time. The gathering of this information is the key. Once we get to that point, now we can start identifying these potential tools. All of the identification side is we want to make sure we open that toolbox up and look and see what it is that might, not will, might help our clients with the solution. Remember, we've helped them, we've helped them through the understanding what the problem is. We understand their problems through our data gathering. Now here are the potential tools. Once we have that potential list of potential tools, now we can start to formulate that plan. Start with a blueprint, not a product list. A lot of people in our industry are just selling product. We want to take our client through this journey, and so we want that blueprint. Now we got to prioritize. Is it something that we're doing now, or is it something that will be done later? And then we want to make sure this plan is coordinated: tax, legal, insurance solutions, retirement solutions, legacy solutions. This plan should be encompassing so that we understand, that with this coherent plan, priorities, sequencing, and all the assumptions are correct. Then we want to take the next step, and that's present this roadmap. Our clients now are through this journey. Let's lay this out in a very simplistic way and prioritize the next steps. A lot of times the clients get overwhelmed because once they understand all of these problems, how in the world do we solve all of these problems at one time? And the answer is we don't. We have to prioritize this into steps so that it's, take a step and breathe. Help our clients through this process, especially the more changes that they're making in their estate, business, and legacy plan, the more time we have to spend to make sure each step is they feel comfortable and they're ready to continue on. Confirm who is doing what and when in this roadmap. So if we have to have legal documents, we're bringing the attorneys in. We're helping identify things for their CPA. So just think clarity beats complexity. These plans are complex. This may be new for our clients, but let's make sure they understand this complexity and what decisions they need to make as they go through the process. Once we have that presented to the client, now we have to implement. Implementation is where trust is reinforced or lost. If you're moving too fast or you're not explaining things, the client starts to lose trust in the process. They start to lose trust in the advisors. So take the time, but make sure as we're going through that everything gets executed the right way. Who's responsible for the next piece of this puzzle? And we follow through this roadmap until the work is complete. We want to make sure if our clients are taking the time and we're helping them, identify these problems, helping them identify the solutions, now we go with this roadmap and make sure the implementation has deadlines, reporting, and at the end of the day, it's complete and in place. Once we have that, now we move to the next step. The next step is going to be review turns one implementation into an ongoing relationship. A lot in our industry is transactional, and many people just treat our industry as a transactional industry. We want to create lasting relationships. We want to go back every time that we're meeting with our client, revisit the goals, the timing of things. Are there future planning that we already had identified? As we review and revise and update, that's going to help us to create additional solutions that we can bring to our client, because as our client goes through life, we're meeting them at whatever stage they're at now. That might be in the growth phase of their business. Now we end up talking to them into the transition or retirement phase. Now we're going through retirement, long-term care, and eventually transition of their estate from one generation to the next. So if we're doing that review and revise and after the implementation, that's going to help trigger us and keep us in that long-term relationship. To do all of this, we need a team. You've got to build a team around you and so we know and trust every member of that team. Could be an attorney, could be a CPA, could be their banking relationships, their property and casualty, other financial advisors. All of this coordination is done by the team to make sure everything's done. But remember, somebody has to be in charge. Somebody has to be the quarterback of this team. That's the role we take on to make sure our client through this process is taken care of the way we want and need them to be taken care of. Finally, as you look at what's next, we are leading with discovery instead of product. We don't want to provide solutions until we understand what the problem is. And once we have the problems identified and the plan in place, then the products that we use are just implementation. Tie everything that you do back to the client's goals. Understand what they're doing and make sure their goals are being met. Coordination with all of their professionals, and everybody's on the same playlist through the roadmap that we've helped put together. Once we have that roadmap, let's make sure we get all the way through implementation and then start the repeat and review, because this is the ongoing relationship that we want to generate. I appreciate everybody getting on. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. If not, we'll talk next week. Thank you.